Kiel on the Baltic coast is a city reborn. Severely damaged by Allied bombing during the war because of its strategic importance as a submarine base, now it's one of the most important ferry ports in Europe with a bustling modern docks. The 250,000 inhabitants of Kiel, whose history stretches back over 750 years, are one of the most cosmopolitan in Germany, and the city's many attractions made it a natural venue for the 1936 and 1972 Olympic yachting events. This modern city, with its impressive buildings, lakes and parks, also has a strong commercial awareness, with the largest indoor shopping mall in Germany. It provides a powerful lure to visitors who come mainly from Scandinavia. The lure of prize money totaling $100,000 was also enough to attract to Kiel the cream of the world's professional squash circuit in pursuit of the title European Open champion. The setting, appropriately enough in a town which has an international reputation for artistic excellence, was the concert hall.
The world #2 Chris Dittmar is fast earning himself the title Mr. Consistency, as once again he reached a Super Series semi-final with the loss of only one game. Fellow Australian Mark Carlyon failed to keep Dittmar on court for long, losing in straight games. The double-handed Peter Marshall, ranked 7 in the world, managed to take a game in the second round. Ex-world champion Ross Norman of New Zealand failed to halt the big Australian in the quarterfinals. Hence, Mr. Consistency moved into the semi-finals looking fresh and strong. It has been a dream come true for Hansi Wiens, the German #1 and ranked 24 in the world, to reach this stage of his own national open. Only coming into the main draw because of the withdrawal of Chris Robertson, he grasped the opportunity with both hands, beating the Englishman Brian Beeson in straight games. The second round proved to be a different proposition, but after dropping the first game to the Canadian world #13 Gary Waite, he took control, winning the next 3 games. Although not fancied to beat his quarter-final opponent, world #8 Tristan Nancaro from Australia, Hansi responded to the crowd support, winning in 4 emotional and action-packed games to secure a semi-final place. This is the most important match in the German #1's career.
Well, it's the biggest tournament event in Europe, and it's in Germany, and I reached semi-finals up to now, and it's obviously the biggest tournament for me as well.
Your opponent Chris Dittmar, can you beat him?
It's going to be really, really hard to beat him. He's really strong. He played really well last couple of tournaments, or last couple of years actually. My tactic is going to be to play him to the front and try to keep him really to the back and try to play him to the front and try to play shots.
Of course, you're hoping for the crowd support here in Germany.
Yeah, yesterday they really supported me really well, actually helped me a lot, and I hope they're going to support me today as well.
In this first semi-final, Chris Dittmar won the first 2 games 15-9, 15-7 in a rapid 18 minutes. But after losing the first 5 points in the third, Hansi Wiens staged a bit of a comeback, although he still trails 7-2 as we join the match. As he brings it back to 3-7. As I was saying, the first time in Europe they're playing with a 3-referee system, normal referee and then 2 line referees. Very difference of opinion. A concept that came from hardball in America and tried out in the Canadian Open, but nobody needs a referee for that decision.
Well, great forehand volley from Wiens, moved into position very well, very balanced. That was perfectly above the 10. Not that one though. Yes, the 3-line judge system is designed to try and cut out arguments and dialogue between the players. Certainly Dittmar hasn't been voicing his approval of the system in the past.
I do seem to remember there was a famous comment from him. I don't know if you can find the words for it, Mark.
Certainly showed his command of the English language. Wouldn't like to say that he was not too happy with the way the line judges were making their decisions on tight situations.
Well, Hansi cutting that ball off. Beautiful short volley. I spoke to Hansi in the change room just before we came out, and his tactic, he told me, was to attack and attack and attack again. And it's not easy against a man who's number 2 in the world and knows how to defend and to attack himself. But although he's down, he's stuck to the task admirably.
This forehand both from Dittmar, one of his great shots, just from half court. He drives that ball hard round the angles, and it's a winner.
And Hansi immediately strikes back. Crisp backhand.
It's Hansi's tactics to attack, but he's got to temper that with some length and some defensive tactics. He can't just afford to go all out with Dittmar in the front of the court. But that's the sort of tactic that's going to reap big rewards for him. Another forehand volley winner.
Yeah, it's taken the score to 9-10. And serving out.
Disastrous.
Not a good move at this stage. 11-9. You feel that Chris Dittmar's got the winning post in his sights. And if I know that man, he'll be sprinting at this stage. But Hansi puts a full stop on the situation and pulls it back. 10-11. Hansi Wiens, German number 1, crowd favourite. Serving, but what does Dittmar do?
Well, it's pretty disheartening for a player to see he serves one up and all he does is stick a backhand volley straight in cross court into the nick. And Dittmar doesn't seem to be missing them at the moment.
Yes, what do you say about this man, Chris Dittmar? I mean, you, Mark, I think, played him recently, so you know his current form. How did you find him?
Well, I played him in a PIMS League match last Monday in London, and I've got to say I was on the end of a bit of a mauling. Had it been a boxing match, I think the referee would have stopped it.
Thrown the towel in. He can do this. He's got the capability of really destroying, hasn't he?
The thing about his game at the moment is he's not making errors. You know, he's hitting winners but not making errors, which is just.
And there, Chris Dittmar's asking for the let, but the crowd, I think, maybe going to be trying to influence the referee.
I don't think they have, though. The referee's stuck to his guns, and he reckons that Dittmar would have picked this ball up. To be fair to Chris, he's picked just about everything else up, but this was a pretty good drop shot from Wiens. And that's just the way to answer that one.
And the score moves on. 11-12. Hansi Wiens serving, but he's 2 games to love down in this first semi-final in this beautiful auditorium in Kiel Castle. And the crowd are enthralled. They'd love to see him come back now.
There's a great atmosphere in here, and there has been all week. They've really got behind Hansi all week. He's loved it. He's revelled in it, and it's crucial now they try and lift their man. 2 loves that, 2 love down, but 11-12. He's in it still.
Oh, a lot of movement, and that a wonderful drop from the back of the court from Chris Dittmar.
Well, this just shows the variety of Dittmar's game at the moment as well. He's hitting winners from all over the place, and this one was deep on the backhand, and it was inch perfect.
That mistake by Hansi Wiens gives Chris Dittmar match ball 14-10. And the crowd try to raise Hansi, but you have to feel it's a lost cause at this stage. Again, match ball. Hansi responds. And how they love it.
Well, this is a great lunge from Hansi. He's a powerful guy. He just stretches out for this one and crunches it cross court. That's been a great part of his game tonight. He's got to draw confidence from that at least.
Well, the net ball. Still 11-14, Hansi. It's still match ball. And Chris Dittmar, will he be denied any longer? Goes to the short drop, and he's attacking now. That ball into the tin. Let's the game continue.
He's got to just try and whittle this lead away, take every point.
But it still stays. Match ball to Chris Dittmar, world number 2. And Hansi through the legs. Little cheeky shot at that stage. Now the big attack. continues. With his back against the wall, he's playing the best watch of the match.
Well, it's ironic really, he's now starting to really produce a cheeky shot between his legs. Open up this one on the forehand drop shot, and he puts this one dead. Great shot into the nick.
Well, the score is 14-all, and it's been called set 3. At this stage, they'll be playing best of 3 points. The first to 17. Crucial game.
He's got to make sure he keeps us tight now and gave Dittmar the opportunity in mid-court on the volley. He just can't afford to do that with this guy in this form. He just chopped it away.
The crowd clapping, trying to raise their man, try to give him a little more energy. He's had a hard week.
Trying to pin him back, and he's got to find that length. Moving to the back of the court.
By contrast, of course, Chris Dittmar has only dropped one game. He's cruised through.
Dittmar has had the easier passage. Had a hard game against Marshall in the second round, but other than that, it's been fairly straightforward. As was that backhand drop shot. Meat and drink for this guy.
And that takes him on to match ball again.
Just slotted this backhand drop shot in, effortless ease.
16-14. True love to Chris Dittmar. And there we have it. The hands meet. And Chris Dittmar is the first player into the final. And Hansi Wiens has had a wonderful, wonderful week. The crowd should, and they do, raise and they clap their hero.
I thought Hansi actually took over for a great part of the second set and also the third set. In particular in the third, I thought he was well on top of me, and I really was under a lot of pressure. And really, for his first major semi-final, I thought he played pretty well. And you would have thought he'd been around for a long, long time playing these sorts of matches. And when you take into account that it was a full house tonight, and I thought a lot of pressure really on Hansi, being the local boy, he really did play pretty well.
Your opposition in the final now will be either Chris Walker or, of course, Rodney Martin. Any preferences?
No, I don't think there's ever a preference for a big final. Obviously, to play in a major final, you expect it to be hard. You expect it to be a tough match. It takes a good player to get through to the final, I think. So whoever I play is going.
Number 3, Rodney Martin, the 1991 world champion and the circuit's renowned shotmaker, has practically strolled to the semi-final. Neither his first-round opposition, Derek Ryan of Ireland, or fellow Australian Rodney Isles, number 9 in the world, were successful in taking the game off him. Waiting in the quarterfinals was brother Brett, number 5 in the current rankings. And as always, the brothers Martin produced an absolute classic gutbuster before Rodney eased through to the semi-final stage, taking the 5th game, 15-6. Chris Walker, newly ranked world number 10 from England, reached the semi-finals the hard way. Austin Adoraga, the Spanish number 1, who had been the unfancied sensation of the 1992 World Championships in Johannesburg, reproduced his best form, taking Chris the full distance. A tough second round against fellow Englishman Tony Hans, world number 18, resulted in a 3-1 win and a place in the quarterfinals to play Anthony Hill of Australia, ranked 20 in the world. Being a member of the local Bundesliga team, Chris was assured of the local support, which he needed in quelling a spirited Australian in a sometimes heated clash by 3-1. Now what a match in prospect for 25-year-old Chris Walker of England.
I play for Kiel Boasters, which is my Bundesliga team, and obviously 90% of the crowd are actually at the league matches as well, so it does help.
Your opponent in the semi-final, Rodney Martin, probably the greatest racketeer, if you like, on the circuit. How are you going to approach this?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a reputation for going for a few shots. Obviously I've played him before, and I think the way to play him is obviously to get forward, because he's very dangerous in the air and around the front of the court short. So I'll be on my toes, stepping forward, trying to pick up most of the shots and then counter punch.
But after 23 minutes of this second semi-final, Chris Walker already finds himself 2 games down, 15-7, 15-13. And here, midway through the third, he's still in trouble against the 1991 world champion, Rodney Martin of Australia.
I spoke to Chris Walker just before he came on to play this semi-final, and he told me that because of Rodney's terrific racket work and his attacking style at the front of the court, he's actually going to move up the court and try to take the ball earlier himself, to take the initiative away from Rodney. Of course, this is going to be, I would assume, a hard tactic to employ, Mark. Yes, they're playing on less. The score stays at 8-4. Rodney leading by 2 games to love. And there, a cheap point for Rodney.
Difficult tactic to employ against Rodney Martin, to attack against probably the #1 attacker in the game of squash today. I feel that Rodney's won most of his points in that front right-hand corner. Chris has really got to close him down a little bit more, like he does here. That's a great width and length down the backhand wall from Chris Walker. He really needs more of this. He needs to close down Rodney's angles, not give him the angles to move the ball short, especially in that front forehand where Rodney's so lethal.
Well, Chris Walker, 5-9. They're playing less on this point. The score stays 5-9. Chris Walker serving from the forehand box to Rodney's backhand. But what do you do with that? What do you do?
Well, Walker didn't have a chance with this shot. Rodney opened the racket face and chopped this one cross court, and the ball just rolled out the nick.
And the score moves to 10-5, and Chris Walker is on the floor.
Great recovery from Walker.
Now, this is an interesting point.
Well, look at this. Walker's actually on his beam end halfway through this rally. Recovers, gets up, makes a recovery, and really leaves Rodney speechless.
Ball is down, 11-5.
After all that,
well, the decision has gone with Rodney, and the score moves on to 11-5. And of course, the crowd support so big here for young Chris Walker, mainly because he plays Bundesliga squash for the local team, and of course he's very well known in this area, so he's going to pick up the local support. But I'm sure the real entrepreneurs of this game are enjoying the skills of Rodney Martin.
Well, certainly Chris can count himself unlucky on that decision. A fairly short drop shot that Rodney's been given a stroke on.
Well, the score 12-5, Rodney Martin. Crowd not happy with it, wanting their local boy to do well, English or no. As far as they're concerned, he plays for their Bundesliga team, we're getting behind him, that's what they're saying. But regardless of that, 3 points away from a final.
Great stretch again from Walker, and it's his athleticism that really has kept him well in this match. Superb stretch and movement around the court. Oh, what can you say against that sort of volume? And look at this reflex volley from Rodney Martin. Full stretch on the forehand. Walker thought he got the ball past him, reaches out, and that's dead.
Score 13-5. Rodney serving. 2 points away now from a final position. Puts the ball into the tin, and Walker comes in at 6-13, but I feel he's got a long way to go. Can he possibly recover? Is there anything he can do, Mark?
He's at the limit at the moment. Match ball.
And there we are, match ball. Rodney going for the drop, off the volley. And yes, it's in. And we have the other semi-finalists. The other finalists come through, and it's Rodney Martin who will meet Chris Dittmar. The world number 3 will play the world's number 2. The 2 top players in this tournament will now meet in the 1992 European Open Final.
Well, Chris, he's played well all week to get to the semi-finals. I just went out there to put the pressure in from the start and hopefully rattle him a little bit. And I think that's what happened at the start of the game. And he felt under pressure the whole time, I think, and didn't really get into a rhythm. And that was the plan that I had going out into the match. So. He probably didn't adapt as well as he would have liked to, and it was probably the game was over before he really got started.
Are you happy with your own form at this stage?
Yeah, for sure. I've been hitting the ball pretty well all week, and getting better each game. So hopefully tomorrow it all peaks at the right time and hit the ball even better.
Well, you brought up tomorrow your fellow countryman Chris Dittmar. Now you two have played each other many, many times. A comment about tomorrow's final.
That's right. We've played each other many times, and it's always been very tough. It's whoever plays best on the day seems to come away with a win, and he wins one week and I win the next week. So hopefully it's my turn tomorrow, and as I said, it's going to be very tough. A completely different game than today. A lot of long, drawn-out rallies and whatever. So it should be good squash for the spectators, and you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Del Harris is the golden boy of English squash who has overcome a serious back injury to again challenge the world's best. A very agile mover for such a big man and a powerful hitter, Del has surprisingly delicate touch for such a big man. He's an expert on the drop shot.
I think the importance of the drop shot in nowadays game is very, very important indeed. The drop shot is one of the most important shots in the game, and can be used to win rallies, and you can win a large majority of the points from the drop shot. There's two real variations in the straight drop shot. One of those is a drop where you attack and you go for the nick for the outright winner. That's where you hit the ball just above the tin and angle it into the side wall towards the nick or very low down the side wall, hoping then that the ball will hit the nick and roll out for the outright winner. The other sort of straight drop shot is just a push shot where you just push it, don't aim for the side wall, and just try and get the ball to bounce very tight to the side wall so your opponent can't really do anything with the ball. They're the two straight drop shots. There's cross-court drop shots you can play as well, where you can sort of flick it cross-court off a weak boast when your opponent's still at the back of the court, for deception purposes, where you just flick cross-court instead of actually hitting a straight drive where he's expecting it. There's another drop shot you can play from the back of the court, which isn't really used that often. If there's a long rally where there's a lot of lengths being hit, you can throw in a drop shot from the back, a straight drop, and your opponent won't really be expecting that. So it's a bit of a surprise shot. It's very hard to play, there's a high risk factor involved, but if you play it right, it can win you quite a few points just from the surprise factor.
The most popular drop shot routine is with your partner feeding you with a boast from the back of the court. Moving from the tee position, you can practice the drop shot before playing a straight drive for your partner to feed the ball with a boast your other wing. Like Del Harris, concentrate on keeping your body well balanced as you lean over the ball, keeping your head down. Then with a short swing and an open racket face, execute a positive stroke through the ball to the nick area, front wall, side wall. The drop shot is the stroke that wins more points than any other, and hence deserves a generous portion of your practice time.
I find it fairly easy. It's one of my favourite shots, but quite a few people find it difficult. The main thing is playing at the right time. If you play at the right time, it's very effective. But then again, if you play at the wrong time, you can be put under a lot of pressure. Really, when you're striking the drop shot, you should try and get low to the ball, get your legs bent, and not stand too upright. You should open your racket face, use a short swing. I tend to use a high grip for more control, and just swing through the ball and aim to the front wall, side wall, towards the nick area. I aim far too close to the tin, really. Maybe about an inch above the tin, I think, really, for safety purposes. In a match, the best time to play the shot, really, is when you're at the front of the court and your opponent has, say, played a weak post or a weak shot and he's at the back of the court. Then you move in and play a tight drop shot, really, so he has to cover the length of the court to get it back. I suppose one of the worst places to play a drop is from the back of the court and your opponent is already at the front of the court waiting and anticipating your shot. Then it's a bad shot. Also, if you play a drop shot and your opponent is still at the front of the court, it puts you under a lot of pressure. So there's two cases of a bad place to play it.
Chris Dittmar plays a poor drop shot from the back of the court, allowing Rodney Martin an easy curl.
In the world players, probably two of the best players for playing the drop shot, in my opinion, would be German Khan and Rodney Martin. Jahangir, mainly on his backhand drop's one of the best drop shots in the game. Rodney Martin, the drop shot from anywhere, really. They're the two best players.
And let's watch Martin in action against Dittmar. This'll be in after this.
Well, he's sprinting now. He's on his last legs.
Sun drives. Oh, what a shot and what a time to do it. Taking the score to 12-14. Rodney Martin has played 3 brilliant shots.
Oh, this was incredible backhand volley. The ball was high. He's got over the top of it, sliced it cross court into the nick.
I think it's the best shot to play, satisfaction-wise anyway. If you play a good nick shot and win the points, It's very thrilling, really, better than winning a point off a length or a lob set.
Well, Chris Dittmar serving to start this, the final of the 1992 European Open in Kiel, Germany, here on the Baltic coast. The two top seeds in the tournament have reached the final position. Two Australians, two contrasting styles, and two men who are going to give their all today to take this German title. An immediate point given there to Rodney Martin. Both of these players members of the Australian World Championship team in Helsinki and in Singapore. They'll both know a lot about each other's styles, their games. They've played each other many, many times. When I spoke to them just before in the start of the final in the changing room, they mentioned this is just another game. They've played each other too many times for any particular tactics. Joining me in the commentary, as always, is Mark McLean, Scottish #1. Mark, a comment from you on these two players, two of the greatest players in the world today.
That's right. Two contrasting styles again. Rodney Martin, shot maker extraordinaire. Dittmar, the percentage man, great line and length. Both players equally adept at sticking the ball away. It's noticeable that Rodney started off very early with that forehand winner. I think the game will develop into Dittmar trying to close down Rodney Martin. Okay. Rodney Martin from the left-hand box, prodigious stroke maker, reads the game exceptionally well, great balance, a great volleyer, and one of the most deceptive players in the game today. That short swing of his can send the ball either to the front or to the back of the court, and it's a lethal weapon, especially on that forehand where he's the most dangerous up at that forehand front corner. Dittmar here at the front of the court, the left-hander, big powerful player, takes the ball very, very early, plays at one hell of a pace. One of the most professional players on the circuit, leaves nothing to chance. Footwork is immaculate, always balanced and alert, balls of his feet on the tee there. And the length and width in his game, really second to none.
Neither player has really struggled getting to this final. It's true to say that Rodney had a tough quarters against his brother Brett, but that seems to be the norm for these two boys. The brothers Martin do tend to take a lot out of each other.
This pattern in the early stages of the first game continued. As we rejoin it, Rodney Martin has opened up a 12-6 lead over Chris Dittmar and is playing the kind of squash which made him the 1991 world champion.
That attempted drop from the back of the court, costly. Rodney moves on, 12-6.
13-6.
Another cheap point, 13-6. Rodney Martin, first game, looking for the first blood. 2 points away from a one game to love lead. In this, the first game of the European Open 1992 final. And that's so tight. So tight. Rodney left some of his racket on that wall. 7-13, Chris Dittmar. We're going to see a lot of variation in this match, I suspect, Mark.
Well, certainly coming from Rodney Martin at the moment. He's the one that's making the play. And he's forced a few cheap errors, but that time Dittmar managed to squeeze the error from Martin.
Yes, taking the score to 8-13 in the first game. Still 5 points behind. And that's a long way at this stage. 5 points. this level of squash is quite a considerable mountain.
There's the backhand cross-court winner from Chris Dittmar. Overhead volley, perfectly dead in the nick. And it's amazing how you can suddenly eat away into a big lead.
And there, that error, 14-9. Rodney Martin serving for the first game. Big psychological point to take the first game. Now, that is interesting. Chris Dittmar is asking, Mike Pickin is considering, and the result is 15-9 to Rodney Martin. The request is turned down. The ball was considered a killer. He had picked it up. So 15-9, first game, Rodney Martin.
In the second game, Chris Dittmar from Adelaide showed why he is renowned as one of the most tenacious competitors in world squash by staging a typically determined comeback. The red-haired left-hander began driving his opponent to the back of the court, forcing Rodney Martin into a series of uncharacteristic errors. It's 10-6 to Dittmar in the second.
It's interesting to note that both these players, talented as they are, it's Rodney that seems to have taken most of the world honours. Dittmar's got to so many finals and never yet won what we call one of the majors. Rodney, of course, won the World Championships in '91 in Adelaide. He became the first Australian title holder since his coach, in fact, the great Jeff Hunt, who won it, I think, in 1980. What's interesting also with this tournament is the absence and the late withdrawal of Jansher Khan, the world #1. Has proved a thorn in the side to both of these men over the last couple of years.
Well, Dittmar's been on the receiving end of Jansher in the last few tournaments. And I must say, having watched Dittmar's path to the final, I'm surprised somewhat at the ease with which Jansher's been beating him. Again, the way he's been demolishing other players would suggest that he would possibly threaten Jansher. But Jansher seems to be able to move up a gear and just take him out every time.
Yes, Chris Dittmar's career has been an amazing career. He's done so well in a losing finalist world opening. I think it was 83, 87, 89, 90, and again this year in South Africa when he lost to, of course, Jansher again. And a runner-up to Jahangir in the British Open. The man deserves better. His talents deserve better.
Superb finish from Rodney Martin. Forehand side, and this could have been any one of 4 shots. A trickle boast it was, and it was a winner.
The delicacy of it gives him 8-10. Rodney serving still 2 points down, but leading by 1 game to love. And that deception.
Great wrist from Dittmar. Just flicks this one across the face of the court, holds it up until the last minute, sends Rodney Martin scurrying the wrong way.
3-point lead Chris Dittmar's holding in this second game. 11-8.
Straight that one up. Couldn't keep the ball in court.
As the ball goes out of court, gap 2 points. Rodney 9-11.
Enters as a crucial stage of the second game. It tends to be a lot of giveaway points, tit for tat stuff, but when it gets to this stage, 10, 11, 12, that's where it all hinges. Wonderful touch from Chris Dittmar. Rodney looked at him as if to say, where did that one come from? Dittmar took the pace off it completely, sliced it cross court. No answer to that stuff.
And 12-9, Chris Dittmar. This big Australian world #2. 3 points away from levelling the score. He's going to squeeze this game.
Dittmar starting to look in control a little bit more now. He's got his rhythm, and there you see it. Another wrong footing shot from Chris Dittmar.
And it moves him on to 13-9, 2 points away.
second game.
Rodney not afraid to go for the forehand winner cross court straight from the service.
But
Didn't find it.
unsuccessful. Chris Dittmar, 14-9, serving for the game. And there, that prestigious talent of Rodney Martin, cross-court nick. And again here, serving as always to the backhand of Chris Dittmar. And a weak mistake there from Rodney. He shakes his head and walks off the court. And Chris Dittmar takes it by 15-9. The first game took 14 minutes. And again, another 14-minute game. 28 minutes these two men have been playing. And the score is 1-1.
Rodney Martin recognises he has a problem on his hands as the European Open moves into its third game. With Chris Dittmar playing with increasing confidence, Martin knew he was in for a long battle. As we join the third game, Dittmar has opened up a commanding 12-5 lead.
Great balance from Dittmar, just standing on the tee.
The crowd encouraged Rodney to come back. 6-12 the score. And again, serving to Chris Dittmar's backhand. The crowds have had a feast of squash this week here in Kiel, and how they've enjoyed it.
Dittmar refused a good length from Rodney Martin on the forehand volley. And a few errors from Dittmar creep in, and Rodney Martin back in this third game.
Uncharacteristic error from Chris Dittmar. 8-12, Rodney serving.
The American scoring system 12-3 seems a big lead, but it's got to be said, Rodney Martin's eaten into it very quickly. Stands at 8-12, and that's well back in this.
Yes, the let there given. The score stays at 8-12. Although Mr. Martin's eyes seem to say I'm not happy with that.
I've looked at the line judge, this new system, three judges here, and you can appeal from the referee to the line judges.
Wonderful pick up there by Chris Dittmar, lunging forward. And again, that's the sort of things that wins matches.
Again, Rodney appealing to this line judge down the right-hand side.
Chris Dittmar serving 13-8. He's now 2 points away from a 2-1 lead. And the request granted. Let ball. The score stays at 13-8. Players gather their thoughts. Prepare for the battle.
That's just nonchalant. Dittmar just seemed to stick his racket out on the backhand side and rolled it cross court for an outright winner.
And that's given him game ball 14-8. Rodney's in control of this rally. Dittmar fights his way back in. I think that's been a major part of this match. Dittmar ties it up, a wonderful recovery, sticks in and takes the game 15-8. He's moving into a 2-1 lead. And that game took 9 minutes.
Top-flight professional squash players are very much world travellers these days. The fitness demands at this level are enormous, and matches often become a battle of the strongest will. It's 6-5 to Dittmar in the fourth, as we rejoin the final of the European Open, with both men at full stretch.
Forces Rodney Martin out of position. Rodney looks at his racket as if to say that, well, half of it's embedded in that side wall. That was a winning volley on the forehand.
7-5, Chris Dittmar. He would be delighted to squeeze this game out here, this match.
And the balance and poise, all too evident. Not having to rush around the court, and this backhand drop dies in the nick.
the perfect width and length. Bring them back to hand in. 6-8. 2 points separate these men. But also 2 games to 1. Chris Dittmar. Should he take this game, it's all over. He will be the champion. And he is going to push. I think Jahangir Khan will confirm that Rodney Martin doesn't take being pushed lightly. He comes back.
Dittmar again moving forward effortlessly, exerting the pace on the game.
And the match is starting to boil. I think we're in a crucial stage here, Mark. This is really crucial. And the error from that volley from Rodney Martin.
And again, it was Dittmar who outmaneuvered Martin, forced him front ways with a drop shot, and then forced the error on the backhand drop shot volley.
Chris Dittmar 9-6. He's 6 points away from the championship. His concentration levels now will be at their height.
Forces Martin deep, and the wrong footing drop shot from Chris Dittmar. Well, that's textbook squash.
And it's ominous. Chris Dittmar, Mr. Consistency himself, seems to be moving towards the championship point, but there Rodney Martin has his own ideas about it.
And the forehand volley again. Chris Dittmar forces another error.
Rodney Martin's having a chat with his opponent and with the referee.
Fair play to Chris Dittmar. He's pulled his own ball down.
This is something we see at the highest level of this game of squash. Intensity, but honesty. 7-11, Rodney Martin. The crowds are moving to the edge of their seat here, so they should. Let ball stays at 7-11, Rodney.
Rodney won't want more than a 4-point gap now. 5 point is ominous, and there it is.
Was that a Chris Dittmar special? Does he not say, length is what this game's about? And there was perfect length. And in from the crowd again. They don't want this to end. 12-6. Chris Dittmar. (13-7). 13-7, Chris Dittmar, 7 from the left box. And what can only be described as a cheap point gives him championship point. 14-7. Now take a deep breath. How they want this man, Rodney Martin, to come back to continue this match. Maybe not because they have favourites, but because they're enjoying the squash. 8-14, but still championship point. Remember, in point of rally scoring, every ball is live, every point is live. I don't know how the players feel, but I'm pretty excited sitting here watching, and Rodney moves on 9-14. But Mark, can he come back? He's a long way behind at this stage, at this level.
If anyone can, it's Rodney Martin, for sure.
But no, it's all over. Chris Dittmar drives the ball past his opponent, and he becomes the 1992 European Open champion here in Kiel on the Baltic. And a worthy champion. He's been Mr. Consistency. 12 minutes that game took. Chris Dittmar, the champion, 3 games to 1.
I didn't think I played a very good match at all. I made a lot of mistakes. I let the ball at the front too easy, and you know, Chris played well, but I think it was more due to I played very badly after the first game, and I'm just very disappointed in the way I played.
Only for yourself, your own thing. Did you think that you could beat him before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've beaten him many occasions, but he's beaten me on many occasions as well. So, as I said yesterday, it just depends who plays best on the day and takes advantages of, the loose ball and whatever. And, I hit too many loose balls today and made a lot of mistakes and not very happy about it at all.
Well, Chris Dittmar, now the European Open champion 1992. We've called you Mr. Consistency all week from the commentary. Your comments?
Well, consistency, I guess, plays an important part. I think to get through to a final and to win it, you have to show consistency. So I suppose it is the right term, Robert. You've probably called correctly there. But I think it's always been the base of my game, really. I don't think I'm such a devastating player, hitting winners all over the place or anything like that, perhaps such as Rodney Martin does. But I just find it important to be consistent, try not to make as many errors as my opponent, and hopefully come out on top that way.
I've said it before, you enjoy two roles. Not only are you the world #2 squash player, you're also the chairman of ISPA, the International Squash Players Association. What effect is it having on your sport for this new World Super Series as far as the television is concerned?
Oh, incredible, Robert. To think that we've now got a potential viewing audience of some 200 million people, or nearly 250. I shouldn't forget the other 50 million. It just takes the sport into another stratosphere, if that's the right word. To think that we have got that sort of potential really is a tremendous boost for the sport. It takes the sport worldwide into the homes that people have never seen it before, and already we're getting a lot of feedback from that. The game is certainly spreading to new countries all the time, and I'm sure that's as a result of the television coverage.
Well, it's your talent as well that we come to watch. I've seen you sort of fight it out in finals and semi-finals over the last few months. Any chance of a break now to get home to the family, Leanne, baby Tom?
Just for a couple of days, unfortunately. Our schedule takes us right up until Christmas, or just about Christmas Day, believe it or not, Robert. And there's the Pakistan Open next, which I'm actually missing, so I get a week off there. But then we've got the Hong Kong Open, followed by the Qatar International in Doha in the Middle East. So it's still a busy few weeks ahead.